look out. Thugs beware. Killers watch out. Wrongdoers don't dare. In the deep and dark of night, he waits for the danger. One man's holy light, evil's only true avenger.
Station gang, and welcome back to Surrounded by Short Boxes with your boy Stu from Dr. Doom's Fan Club. This show is a spotlight on the history behind some of my favorite back issues and why I love them so much. Today, we are talking about the 3 mini-comic mini-series that tells a vastly different origin story for the Dark Knight than the one we have come to know today, and it is also John Byrne's first published work at DC Comics. We are talking about the Untold Legend of Batman from 1980. Let's get into this book's history and why I love it so much. The Untold Legend of the Batman presents itself as a 3-issue mystery story, but really it's a vehicle for Len Wein to tie together and streamline all the numerous bits and pieces of Batman's past, which had trickled out over the character's then 40-year history. In 1977, Wein had signed an exclusive contract to come on as writer and editor with DC Comics, and at the time, he was the monthly writer of Batman. Originally released in 1980, these 3 6x9 issues were repackaged and reissued again in 1989 as marketing promo for the Tim Burton Batman movie. This time around, each issue of the series was available in a special MPI audio edition, accompanied by an audio cassette for each book, which contained a performance of the text of the issue, had musical cues, and even a theme song, Batman True Avenger, written by Scott Canfield, which you just heard so beautifully performed by yours truly at the top of the show. All right, the mystery for the book kicks off after Batman receives in the mail the mangled remains of the Batman costume his father, Thomas Wayne, originally wore, along with a note that promises this is only the beginning of the Dark Knight's destruction. The world's greatest detective then sets out on a relentless search to ID this mystery foe, and along the way he reminisces about several of the key moments throughout his life and career. And it's in these expository flashbacks that the alarming differences between the Batman's origin told within these pages and the Batman's origin we know today becomes strikingly apparent. All right, let's take a look at him. First off, Thomas Wayne, wearing this costume to the Flying Creatures themed ball, is kidnapped at the order of Lou Moxon, who wants Wayne to remove the bullet from his clipped wing. But old Tommy Boy knows he's going to get capped right after doing so, so he takes the goons down in costume, subdues them until the police arrive, and among them we find a young Lieutenant Jim Gordon. Moxon eventually gets locked up, does his time for the crime, but does he let the grudge go? Soon enough, we will find out. It's not too long before we meet Joe Chill, who robs and kills Martha and Thomas right in front of Bruce, but there's more to that story as we and Batman will soon uncover. After his parents' murder, Bruce gets adopted by Uncle Philip and a Miss Chilton as primary caretaker. This is where it gets wild, man. Mrs. Chilton is secretly the mother of Joe Chill. How wild is that? Our boy's getting raised by the mother of his parents' murderer. Doubling down on the weirdness here, Bruce first adopts the Robin persona and trains under Detective Harvey Harris, learning the finer points of boxing and a variety of crime-fighting techniques before eventually pursuing college courses on his own in areas like criminology and psychology. But Bruce knows that he cannot fulfill his vow as a simple police officer. And thus we do get our legendary chance encounter with a bat flying into his study, which is, the nail in the coffin, as we say, when it comes to the symbolic inspiration for Bruce Wayne to become Batman. I gotta say, the Untold Legend version totally drops the ball on the way to this moment here. Look at the visceral and emotional impact this moment has in a book like Year One versus what we got going on here in Untold Legend. It is night and day. In Untold, it's like someone let a fly in the house. What are we doing here, guys? Really a clinic for Mazzucchelli on how to deliver on that payoff that we are looking for as comic book readers.
Also, on the postscript, I gotta shout out Uncle Frank doing an incredible job here in Dark Knight Returns as well. Truly understanding the weight of this moment.
Bats eventually tracks down Joe Chill, who is rather hilariously murdered by his own thugs after he lets it slip that he is the one who created Batman in the first place. And I love this scene. The guy's like, "You mean that's the guy that broke up my numbers racket? That's the guy who got me thrown in jail?" Later, the Dark Knight learns of Lou Moxon's role in the murders as well, and old Lou meets a similar fate to Joe Chill, running away from Batman, who is wearing Thomas Wayne's Bat costume, no less, giving Moxon traumatic flashbacks. He is struck dead by a speeding car. For the rest of the story, Batman moves through Gotham. He visits with folks like Alfred, Robin, Commissioner Gordon, who each get their own moment to shine in the story. Bats eventually makes his way out to Wayne Manor, where it's revealed that the man out to get him is himself, thanks to a recent explosion which had taken place in the pages of Len Wein's contemporaneous Batman issues. Our boy has become a schizophrenic, and as Bruce Wayne, he blames Batman for robbing him of a normal life. So quickly, Batman snaps to his senses with the help of Robin wearing Thomas Wayne's Bat costume, and he escapes the death trap. The story ends rather quickly, with Batman again standing on the rooftop overlooking the city. I'd be remiss not to talk about the art real quick in Untold Legend. It's a unique blend of really three standout talents, each bringing their own flavor to the story. John Byrne is here. As I said, his first published work in issue 1, he had a lot going on in Marvel at the time, was still able to bang this out. His sharp structured layouts and dynamic storytelling is there, really bridging the gap between Silver and Bronze ages. We got Jim Aparo taking over for issues 2 and 3, a Batman artist I grew up with as a kid, delivering his signature moody line work there, expressive faces, really ground the emotional weight of the story and Batman's past. And we have José Luis García-López's cover art, giving the whole series a timeless, iconic feel. Together, all of these artists help create a visually rich and era-defining take on Batman's mythos. Now, let's talk perspective real quick. Ultimately, it would be two events later in the 80s that drastically reshape Batman's canonical origin and really give birth to the modern-day retcon version of the character. First, we got Crisis on Infinite Earths, DC's sweeping line-wide event in 1985 intended to simplify 50 years of complicated continuity by merging its multiverse into a single, streamlined universe. Batman's history wasn't as drastically rewritten as, say, his two fellow members of the Trinity, Superman and Wonder Woman, but Crisis cleared the board for a new, more grounded origin, and in so doing paved the way for Miller and Mazzucchelli's Batman Year One, and the stripped-down realism that redefined the Dark Knight for a new generation. So, what all changed between 1980's Untold Legend and our post-Crisis consensus? To start, Crisis erased all the golden and bronze era continuity pieces. Gone was the idea that Bruce trained with Harvey Harris under the identity of Robin as a youth. Gone was Joe Chill's mother, Mrs. Chilton, as Bruce's caretaker. Gone was Thomas Wayne's proto-Batman costume and backstory involving mobster Lou Moxon. Gone was any sense of mystical or pulp influences. Miller and Mazzucchelli take all that and run with it in a number of ways here. Bruce no longer trains with anyone in costume or wears a pre-Batman alias. There's no young Robin. There's no global training montages or mysticism or proto-costumes. His development in Year One is off-page and implied to be rooted in the real-world skills like criminology, martial arts, and street-level tactics. Year One leaves his parents' killers nameless, and it makes that trauma more universal and random rather than tied to a wider mob conspiracy like we do here in Untold Legend. This randomness is really crucial. It fuels a more psychological and existential Bruce rather than a man on a revenge mission against a specific mobster. In Untold Legend, Thomas Wayne's actions, like fighting crime in a bat costume and raging the mob, are part of what inspires Bruce. In Year One, Thomas is just a good man, a doctor, a father. His death is meaningful because of Bruce's loss, but it's not because of his pulp legacy. And Year One presents Batman's origin alongside Jim Gordon's. Miller kind of makes them dual protagonists. Unlike in Untold Legend, where Jim's more passive, in Year One, Gordon is given equal weight in the story. He's not just a moral compass in the background, he's actively part of Gotham's rebirth. And in year one, Gotham isn't just crime-ridden, it is institutionally corrupt. And that's one of my favorite parts of the story. Batman's mission is not just about the criminals, but it's about breaking the systemic rot. And that scale is not part of Untold Legend's more romantic, sentimental, and nostalgic tone towards the city. I love Untold Legend of Batman because for me, it is a beautiful time capsule, a heartfelt remix of everything that made Batman who he was before the continuity got streamlined and sharpened in the post-crisis era. It's not gritty or deconstructed. It's a reverent, emotional collage of myth, memory, and meaning. This book is less about one event and more about the weight of legacy, of being the sum total of grief, training, love, and sacrifice. And sure, it's overwritten in that glorious Bronze Age way, but that's part of its charm. It's a book that also serves as a reminder of the industry finding its way here. This is one of the first miniseries that we ever got. And its repackaging for promo for Batman 1989 will always tug at my heartstrings. That's why I keep coming back to it and why I think it deserves to be remembered, not just as an origin recap, but as a love letter to the Dark Knight himself. And if you have a chance, check out the clips from the audio cassettes on YouTube. They're glorious. Shout out to Scott Canfield. That's it for me this time, gang. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure you're subscribed to Dr. Doom's Fan Club with those notifications on so you don't miss out on any more great comic book content. Until next time, station.
It's true. I swear it. Batman just told me who he really is. He said he became the Batman because I killed his foe.
You mean you're the reason for the Batman? The guy who sent me up the river?
You're responsible for the man who broke up my numbers racket?
You inspired the manhunter who put me in the pen?
And almost as one, the hate-crazed thugs meted out their own perverse kind of justice.
It's all because of
You!
And when cold sanity returned seconds later,
We must have gone trigger happy. Do you guys realize what we did?
yeah, we plugged Chill before he could tell us Batman's real name.
Hey, wait, Chill's still alive. Maybe he can talk.
Maybe so, but you three won't be in any condition to hear what he has to say.
It's the Batman!